What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Dr. Digit channel. So part of this video is a bit different from normal, but I'm going to try something new on my channel. I'm actually pretty excited. So I'm going to be following a script and see how well it works out for me. Recently, I've been rewatching my live streams and normal videos, and I sound like a broken record without proper editing. You know, repeating the same thing over and over. And I guess this is a long time thing that I've been dealing with. And maybe I could make a good topic for a thought-provoking video, so that's what I was thinking to do. But instead we're going to be talking about movement shooters. What is the big deal with shooters these days? And what makes them fun? And what makes them a movement shooter? And where did it all start? And what the heck is a Quake like? And what are the best ones? So today I'm going to be showing my favorite Quake-like movement shooters and ranking them from worst to best. Not to say that the worst is a bad game, just compared to the others, it's just not as fun or as engaging, in my own opinion. So take it with a grain of salt. Back in the day, I loved playing Halo 1 and 2, and also the Metro series. Later I played all sorts of shooters with my friends, games like Arma and Valorant, but I always felt these shooter games started to feel either repetitive or slow, not pushing the boundaries, but instead staying in the safe waters of where players are guaranteed to keep playing. Movement shooters are the exact opposite. They break your neck with how fast they go, they stun you with the amount of blood there is, and they make you feel like a badass. You retrace your steps and collect keys to pass, just like the original Doom, and these games evolve throughout the years, with very distinct things that make them their own genre of shooters that's meant to bring out the 3D of a game. Like, you know how in some games like Valorant or CSGO, shooting at someone is as easy as aiming at the hitbox, and you know when you're shooting you have to stand still, and obviously they're also standing still shooting back at you, so it's like, oh, can you click on the head? Well, yay, good job. But movement shooters are dedicated to bringing out the 3D aspect in 3D games, which is a lot about how the original Quake developers based Quake around, and that's why Quake still can hold up today. Speaking of Quake, Quake had it all. Verticality, monsters that would jump miles at you, a multitude of weapons that challenge you to manage your resources, or else get stuck on a hard level with nothing but an axe and some weak shotgun shells. Quake is an amazing game, and I recommend playing it if you want to see where it all began. Sadly, however, I don't think I'll put Quake on my list, due to it being the father of most of these games. But if I had to do so, I'd put it between spot 6 and 7, just to give you like a sort of gauge on where it would hold up today on the movement shooters in this list. So yeah, without further ado, alright guys, before we hop in, I also want to say, if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. If you're old here, make sure to press that like button. Either way, thanks for the view. Alright, so first up on the list, in 7th place, we have Wrought Flesh. This game is an open world shooter game where you play as a Frankenstein's battle monster from space. I did not make this up, it's actually really accurate to the lore. You level up your character by bodybuilding, and by bodybuilding I mean taking guts from your fallen enemies and shoving them into your own body. How freaking cool is that? You can even eat the corpses for a quick health boost. This game is fun and I like the extra layer of complexity that the organ system adds, but some of the mechanics take away from the game, such as the fact that organs decay faster than people who build in LEGO commercials. My only issues with this game are the tedious tasks that you have to go back and forth, and like the lack of movement mechanics. You can slide and sometimes rocket jump, but sadly, that's about it. It's about as horizontal as it gets. You can move in all directions, but it's not very vertical, you know? That's not necessarily a bad thing when it comes to movement shooters, but even the sliding mechanic doesn't lower the character, it just makes you stand still and just lose friction in your feet, which would be pretty useful in making you a smaller target, and also exploration, like sliding into like a small crack in a wall, or maybe like ducking over under a rocket, you know. This game recently has had a lot more updates, which really did add some of what it felt like was missing, and it made the second level a lot more well developed and like almost like linear as you explore cracks in a giant jungle wall. 7th place in this list, I do recommend this game. Alright, second game on this list. We have Hrot. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but just for context, I'll just read the Steam page. Hrot is a single-player retro FPS, set in a small socialist country neighboring Soviet Union, Czechoslovakia. After once a specified disaster, 1986. Those times were dark and terrifying, and so was the game. I love this game style. It's dark and gritty, but also it switches back on a dime and is hilarious at sometimes. It really knows its theme, and the movement is fast, and it's a lot like Quake, even being programmed in a similar engine, which did make it a pain to capture, so that might be why it's a little bit of a lower resolution. This game is faster and more horizontal than Wrought Flesh, with tight combat and a large arsenal of weapons against a pretty big roster of foes. Having the setting being mid-USSR, with a bunch of crazy mutations from Chernobyl, was an amazing choice, and I love the theme. The battle is surprisingly horrific at times, sending you barreling down corridors in pitch black, no sound except your boots on the cement and your breath in the worn gas mask on your face. Half horror. The other half is almost a weird comedy, almost laughing at how desperate the situation of this country is. You kiss framed pictures of dictators, play the piano, and battle the frozen body of Stalin for Christ's sake. You kill giant floating heads, and it's a strange mix, but it fits and I love it. It feels tactical and fun, which is a combination that's hard to come by these days. The stage design feels compact and rough, which fits. I like the theme, but the grays and browns of socialism get a little bland at times, which I guess is one of the points. 6th place. Okay, next game. Dusk. The next game on our list as we climb up to my favorites is Dusk. You may or may not have heard about the developer. He's the same guy who made Iron Lung, which got really popular on YouTube. Dusk is a fun gameplay loop with very similar resource management to Quake and Hrot. Graphically, it's very unique with spooky character designs and fun environments. The story is dark, and it takes place in a farmland over Lovecraftian catacombs. You'll explore government compounds, an alternate reality, and a corn maze. This game is fast. And it's the first on the list with a lot of really cool movement mechanics. There's rocket jumping, rolling, flipping, sighting, boosting, climbing. The level design is fantastic, and the aesthetic is backed up with Lovecraftian themes that get intense as you delve deeper into alternate realities, battling cultists in a possessed military camp. This game is a bit difficult to master, but also very rewarding once you do. The arsenal in this game is similar to other movement shooters, but also has a unique spin on some of the weapons, such as dual-wield shotguns, which is refreshing when weapons almost have the same feel throughout most of these movement shooters. Being a massive fan of Lovecraft, I give it extra points for the theme of the game, and the mechanics are well fleshed out with fun level design and combat. A good balance of exploration and downtime with the combat. 5th place, good game, on to the next one. Forgive me, Father. In the last game, I mentioned how I love the theme of Lovecraftian horrors. You can tell by my short-lived Cthulhu Month series, which hopefully will be coming back. Forgive Me, Father really delves into pure cosmic madness. I love the theme of this game. Sometimes the art and voice acting gets a little in your face at times, but it's an interesting art direction that I personally love. The level design is unique, and the main focus is in the story and combat, which creates a well-balanced and thought-out campaign. The upgrade system in this game is very deep, with tons of additions for your weaponry. Your guns get more and more warped and powerful, just like the environment around you, covered in tentacles and writhing with life, creating an interesting mix of throwing knives and mutated shotguns. This game hardly ever feels repetitive, with all sorts of interesting monster mechanics, such as how zombies, which can survive a headshot by slapping on another head that they're carrying, or the fat guys who crawl after you after being jibbed. My only concern is that this game falls under some of the pop culture side of Cthulhu, where it gives cosmic monstrosities a health bar. I'll hopefully delve into that later in a different video, but it's still fun to see how your character reacts to the madness with alcohol and drugs to numb the situation. You can really feel that they are going mad. The bosses are fed, the movement is fast, however, it's lacking in some mechanics such as some sort of form of dash or slide. Maybe even a double jump would add some more depth. Although I could see why it doesn't work with the art style due to everything being 2D sprites, and they can't be visible from right above it. This game knows its theme well, and I really love some of the subtle nods towards Lovecraft and others like him. Maybe someday I would like to stream it or play some more Lovecraft games. 4th place, on to the next one. Turbo Overkill. Moving on to the top 3 movement shooters on my list, I have a game that I was so sad to find about so late to the party. Turbo Overkill is a game that will knock your socks off and replace your feet with a chainsaw. Literally, you have a chainsaw leg. You have a chainsaw freaking leg. No doubt this game has amazing movement and a phenomenal stage design, with wall running, dashing, double jumping, but of course sliding around with your jet-powered street-cleaning chainsaw leg. Some of the stages look like freaking skate parks that you just whiz around with your chainsaw leg just cutting through everything like cheese. Not only is the basic movement in this game pretty intense by itself, but you can upgrade it to go even faster, or give you a wall jump, or like boost off enemies. When it comes to weaponry in this game, it gets pretty adept and well, having a vending machines that disperse weapons, items, and power-ups. Locking onto foes, blasting missiles out of your hand, then flipping them off. I mean, come on. I thought the others in this list were fast-paced, but I dare you to try this game. This game is set in a grim future, where elongated Muskrat comes to control all of humanity by inserting AI into their brains. That's lore-friendly, by the way. You play as a badass street cleaner who's contracted to shutting down the AI. The theme is so cool. A vaporwave future with bright neon lights and flying cars that look straight out of old Windows 93. You drive cars around and shoot at bad guys, you hop on cars and shoot at bad guys, your car shoots bad guys. There's no end to fun that you can have in this game. And just as a side note, I think that this game totally needs a horde mode or some sort of endless mode. I'm only judging these off of their main story modes. So I'll end my thoughts on Turbo Overkill here, with its place being in third. Please go check it out if you like movement shooters. Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal. Coming second on this list are the two newest additions to the Doom franchise. Sure, a lot of people get mad saying how these games are so different from each other, but this is my list, and I say they tied for second, plus they're I can't have them both on my list, you know, I just need to put them in like sort of one group. In my personal opinion, please don't kill me, Doom 2016 is better than Doom Eternal, just because of the aesthetic and just my personal preference. I know a lot of people say Doom Eternal is such better gameplay, but I don't know, something about Doom 2016, I just love it way more, because that was one of the very first movement shooters I've ever played. Doom puts you, the Doom guy, I know, a very really creative name, in a Mars facility infested with demons that you have to rip and tear through, as you eventually battle your way into hell, kill even more monsters down there, get ripped out of hell, fight your way back into hell so you could beat up the final boss. Doom Eternal has you going all over the place. Heaven, more UAC facilities, and even Doom Guy's home planet, which is extinct because of demons, which is why he's going on this whole holy conquest because they killed his rabbit. The enemy designs in these games are phenomenal. The enemies have a distinct look, and you can tell them apart just by their silhouettes, which is a core key mechanic that a lot of games are missing nowadays. And you have to use a different strategy for each one, although sometimes the strategy does feel a bit forced and you're not allowed to get creative with it. For instance, a Cacodemon is like the floating beholder from D&D without eye socks, and you have to aim a grenade right into its maw, so when he eats it and gets stunned, you jump right and punch your fist into his pathetic eye. Or maybe take the Pinky Demon, for example, where he runs at you really fast and you have to flank him and get some good shots on his exposed tail. So it does feel like you do have to do these things to kill them. Like there's no other way to kill them, and you can't get too creative like in some of the other games that I've listed. Doom is an amazing game and a good example of movement shooter. Nowadays, if you move fast in a game, it's suddenly a Doom clone. But I'm really glad that it's a new and budding set of these types of movement shooters. Also, like I said before, Doom has some amazing content besides the story, which doesn't affect this review, just a cool fan base. Also, Isabel and Doom Guy, boom, second place. Next game. Ultrakill. This is the best game on this list. In my opinion, we're finally here. Thank you guys for sticking around this far. Yeah, thank you. Ultrakill is an amazing game, and one of the only ones to live up to its name. This game is freaking awesome. Imagine if Quake and Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance had a baby, and that baby was on crack. It acknowledges the meme, and also is really fast. You have a style meter that's irrelevant to the combat, but instead shows you how stylish you are in combat. Each weapon and each movement mechanic plays into each other. For instance, you have an add-on to your revolver that lets you flip a coin that you can then shoot, and then it ricochets into the nearest skull of the enemy. But then, let's take that same coin and punch it into the nearest skull of the enemy, and then, before it hits the ground, shoot it into another skull of the enemy. You get it. And also, you can flip coin, switch to your railgun, and then shoot it into another enemy. Boom! You get instant top grade. And the movement. Oh, chef's kiss. Every aspect in this game is polished till it's perfect. Like, for instance, this. Not only is this game still under development, but it's god tier among even in its early phases, which puts a lot of weight on the developers' back to keep it good. This game will make you feel like a badass demon angel slaying machine. You just punch everything in your way. Also, the community is amazing. Wait, wrong game, my bad. I've replayed its mission levels. It's a real challenge, but it's worth the extras you can unlock on like top difficulty. No spoilers. This game is peak form of movement shooter, so if you like Doom or Quake or any other game on this list and you have not tried Ultrakill, you need to get right now, otherwise I'm going to Ultrakill you. Best game I have ever played, besides Deadbolt. Alright guys, thank you very much for sticking around. That's about it for my top 7 movement shooter games. I played a ton more, and maybe if you like this video, I'll make another one. I put a lot of work into this, and it took over a week of just like all my downtime to write a script, to record, and everything. So if you do like this, please like it. I'm doing a face reveal at 100 subs. Don't quote me on that. See you in the next video. Thanks for the view.
What? How can it be? Bested by this thing? You insignificant fuck!